Hey, how you doing? So, obviously I don't use this channel very often, and I'm thinking about changing that. I know that there are people out there that are very eager to see some, I guess, progress behind the scenes, just a little bit more consistent updates with the movie and things like the Blu-ray and stuff like that. Well, not really stuff like that, those two things. And I figured that it'd probably be not a good idea to do that in the main channel. What I'm thinking about doing here, and that is semi-regular vlogs. This is a vlog channel. It's a personal channel. I can do whatever I want in here. It's not going to mess anything up, so that's a good thing. Anyway, I'm talking just like getting on here for a few minutes, just kind of showing you what I've done to the day, talk about what I've done for the day, and just kind of keep a little bit more line of communication open for those of you who are interested and want that sort of thing. And I'm also thinking about possibly streaming on this channel from now on. And those of you who you see me in the streams on the main channel, I usually do that on Saturday nights. The problem with that is that when you do that, when you stream from your main channel like that, and streams are just inherently, they're going to have less engagement. Not as many people are going to come in, and the YouTube algorithm sees that and stops recommending videos out to people that may skip the stream. So if you don't watch the streams, there's a chance you may not see the next video when it's in your sub box, or it won't put it in your sub box. It's just how the algorithm is structured right now, and it's absolutely stupid. But that's how it is, and that's why you've seen other people, big time people, make a separate channel for streaming, and they don't do it on their big giant channel. And there's a reason why they do that, and that's why. And I don't stream a lot. I just do it basically once a week most of the time. But I figured it would probably be best just for everybody involved if I just maybe did it from this channel. And it's not, I don't know that I'm going to do that. It's just something I'm considering. So it wouldn't be until a couple weeks until I can start telling people that in those mainstreams. But anyway, so what have I done today? So right now I'm really, really heavily into the color grading process of the movie. You usually don't do the color grading until, the end. Maybe the audio people are working on the audio portion, the music's being scored, so you can start kind of doing the visual stuff that really, all the editing is done. So you can all kind of like work on the same thing together that are different sections of it, so you're not overlapping work or anything like that. And I'm doing the color grading even though the editing isn't 100% done, just because it's my first go around with doing something like this, and I've made some errors along the way with the color grading, and I've done things where I've like kind of experimented with things, and with color grading, especially if you're new to it. Oftentimes it's best if you sit down, you look at it, and then you don't look at it for a while, and then you come back maybe a week or two later, you look at it and you're like, okay, what was I thinking? That looks like garbage. But if you look at it and you're like, okay, that still looks good, then you probably are in the right track. So that's a process that I've been doing just because I am a little amateurish when it comes to the color grading. I've done color correction and stuff on video for as long as I've been doing video, but color grading a feature film is a completely different beast. So many things you got to know, so many things you have to take into consideration, and so many different. You just from the creative aspect, that's just the technical aspect. The creative aspect is like, do I want this to look this way? Do I want it to look that way? What am I trying to convey here? It's just countless decisions that you have to make. Let me actually bring up. So I'm in Davinci Resolve right now, and I'll just kind of go a little more in depth with everything right here. So this is one particular shot I'm working on right now, and each shot, you can take anywhere from 10 minutes to I've taken a couple of hours just trying to perfect one shot, and there's 1,400 shots in the entire movie as of right now. And so, yeah, I know. So a neighbor is mowing, and they decided to start mowing right when I hit the record button, which is amazing. But you can see all these different nodes do different things. It give the image a certain look. It can disable them, and you'll see what it kind of does to the image. So every time I take it off, this is what it looked like when it was shot. This is what it looked like on set. When you get the image shot on an Alexa, it's recorded in a log format, which everything's flat. That was converted to this, which is Rec 709, which is your standard. Okay, technically, that's technically, I guess, legal. Like I could, that's within the Rec 709 color space. I could take that and send it to anywhere, and it would be fine. But it doesn't look very good. It's just very, it's too warm. I think they probably shot it a little bit wrong of the color balance, which is fine because this is shot in RAW. Color balance is just very, very. It's different when you're shooting on RAW. You can, everything is fixable, changeable. You don't have to ever worry about it, which is great. This is why we spent like several $100s more on hard drives just so I'd be able to shoot in RAW, because the file sizes are just so much larger. So you need that extra space. But on this particular shot, yeah, it doesn't. It's not very compelling. It doesn't look very good. But you know, I worked with it a little bit just to kind of bring out the nice, cool colors, and then you know work on keeping like this creepy sort of like feel to it, and kept this try to keep the skin as warm as possible. But there's other like little nuances, little things that you can do to kind of help with, because every shot, and that's what professional color gradients will do, is they'll take every shot and just try to make it like a work of art. with a higher budget shows and movies, at least they'll do that. I'm attempting to, but as I said, I'm not as good. And if we was to hire a professional to do this, we're talking thousands and thousands and thousands of dollars, because color grading is a profession in and of itself. Which means that they come in, they're hired, they'll spend 3 weeks a month doing it, and it's gonna look good, but you're gonna be paying a lot of money for it, because they're very, very specific job set and set of skills that they have. But anyway, this is there's all these little nodes right here, basically like the main color, and each one does a certain thing. That way, if I want to go and tweak certain ones, then I know which ones to go to, and it'll only affect that one. I know I'm not making any sense right now, and usually I would have these nodes labeled. So those of you who have actually colored in Davinci Resolve, you're probably yelling at your screen, why aren't your nodes labeled? But I just kind of like did this real quick. Not real quick. I got lazy. That's what it was basically. But there are certain things like this, for instance, that I've had to do that I don't usually have to do on every shot, but sometimes it'll really help, because each shot is unique, you know, and sometimes you have to do different things to it. So for instance, this one, when it was shot, so this is Jay's face was a little bit too much in shadow when it was shot. They fixed it on some of the, because you know you shoot the scene many different times, but on this particular one, I think it was one of the first ones we shot, his face was a little too much in shadow. They ended up fixing it in the next takes. Unfortunately, I really liked this take the most. I just thought it was the best. But unfortunately, it's the one that kind of looks the worst. But when you're shooting on RAW, you're shooting on a high-end camera like the Arri Alexa, which we did, and you're using an amazing program like Davinci Resolve, you can do things to fix certain things like that you don't really quite like. And that's what I had to do. This little doohickey right here is a power window, and now it's decided to do a backup. Right in the middle of me doing this. Sorry guys, it's a large project. It's many terabytes of information that it's having to back up right now. I think it'll only take like a minute or so though. But yeah. Anyway, this right here is the power window. So it'll essentially, what you can do is create a window, and you can make an adjustment on that, and it will only affect that window. And because obviously this is video and not Photoshop, Jay's face is going to be moving. So you have to track the thing and have it track its movements. Davinci is pretty decent with the tracking, but you still have to sometimes go there frame by frame and make sure it just kind of stays where it's supposed to. Right now it's disabled, but I will. Let me actually do this so you can see it better. Right now it's disabled. His face is a little too dark, but when I enable the node, you can kind of see the difference here. You'll see his face light up. And that's much better. You don't really want people's faces to get lost in the shadows in any shot, unless it's important for the story, of course. There's always an exception to the rule. But a general shot right here, two people having a conversation. You don't want their face to get lost in the shadows, because that's what your eyes should be most focused on. And to segue into what your eyes should be most focused on, I also added a little vignette here. You'll see this right here, this side will get darkened on the left hand side, and the reason I do that, let me turn it off and I'll turn it back on. So the reason I do that, it's my computer's very slow, so nothing's instantaneous with this. You'll see that kind of like just dark vignette, and what that does is it just brings your eye to where it should be, and that's the people in the scene. You're always generally going to do that, send your eye to the people in the scene. There's another shot right here, but you can kind of see, so that's not the, let me get a better one right here. But yeah, whatever. So before, after, it's the color grading. Before, after. So yeah, the job of the color grade is basically, hey, let's just make it look good. If that's, we'll go with the most basic of definitions here, right? Let's just make it look good. And that's what I'm trying to do right now. Now, again, as I said, this is usually one of the final steps, but I wanted to just make sure I had a lot of experience doing it before the final grade. And I would say the final grade has been applied to about a third of it at this point. But there are different things being worked on by different people right now. Right now, I'm also working on getting everything together for a reshoot. We have to reshoot one of the scenes. Unfortunately, there were some issues in what we originally shot, and just didn't work out. So, everyone, take care.